Hi there. In this episode of the vlog, I'd like to look at ways of helping, reducing the big problem we have, the amount of immigration that we have coming into the country at the moment. And to do that, I think you need to look at the different types of people coming to the country because, they can come into different categories. And if you're enjoying the video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more, subscribe and hit the notifications. Thanks. So, immigration that we have in the UK, the numbers are consistently rising, and it's causing the Westminster government quite a task of looking at ways of bringing that down without disadvantaging people who should be here and without the potential knock-on effect it could have to the economy and the skill shortages that we might have in some different categories of the workforce. So, I look at the different types of immigrants that we have and how we can deal with them. The first ones we have are asylum seekers. And asylum seekers, I would suggest, fall into two categories. You've got those who are genuine 100% asylum seekers and those who aren't. Those who are just looking to get into the country by using that as an excuse. And it's a tough one because if you claim asylum and somebody says, no, you're no asylum seeker and fling you back to where you came from, it's tough decisions to be made. But the genuine asylum seekers, people, for example, let's say someone who in Afghanistan was a translator for our armed forces when we were in conflict over there, people like that who, when we come out of the country, come home, if we leave them in the country and the Taliban take back control of the country, can become very, very unsafe. That, to me, is a genuine reason for an asylum seeker. Someone who has spoke out, protested, or tried to make change at a despot country, and by remaining there are going to, inevitably have a tough life, whether that would be killed, murdered, or imprisoned. These people are genuine asylum seekers. And I think the hundreds of countries around the world, if they do their fair share for those type of people in those types of situations, then I think that's quite an honourable thing to do, as long as it's shared across the globe by welcoming countries. Those who are coming to the country just purely seeking asylum when they're not really at risk, they just fancy a better life, but don't fancy going through the legal proper channels for those people who can apply to immigrate to countries all over the world. I don't think that they are, suitable people to be let in the country, because if you want to come to the UK or any country for that matter, just to improve your life, that's fine. That should be an available route for you, and it is, because probably 99% of the countries in the world allow immigration, but it's controlled, so that the people are going there. Need to fill some criteria, and folk that are going who don't fill any of the criteria but just want to get into a country for other reasons, sometimes, and if we believe otherwise, we've been very naive, but sometimes these people arrive in countries claiming asylum when it's not the case. And then the third load of immigrants that we have are legal immigrants who, countries might have skill shortages and things that they need to attract people from foreign countries to help. It could be health service, it could be carers and care homes, that sort of thing, where, for whatever reason, that country doesn't have enough skill force to do that. So, all these different types of immigration require different answers, different ways of dealing with them to try and control the amount of people coming into the country and establish what ones are coming in for good intentions that can potentially enhance the country that they're going to. And this isn't just a UK problem. This problem exists through most of Western Europe, apart from Poland. Surprisingly, they've quite a harsh way of dealing with immigration, and it's posed quite successful. Simply looking at the number of terror attacks that happen in that country, one of the lowest in the world, and they have quite a strict immigration policy, so it's hardly surprising. But as far as the illegal immigrants coming into the country to try and seek asylum once they reach here are just no bother, just disappear into the, into the system somehow. I think it's quite a harsh way of doing it, but it's quite a, it would prove quite a substantial way of reducing them. It's simply making the UK a less attractive offer from whichever country they've came from. Because the thing that really gets, my attention is these people, and they're predominantly young males, don't see a lot of families coming into the country through the boats where they pay, four-figure sums to put their life at risk in a dinghy to cross the channel. They've left a country, normally France, potentially Belgium and Holland as well because of the routes that you come in, but predominantly come from France, where they're not persecuted. It's quite a safe place. Nobody's life's in danger. So I don't really understand why these people would want to put their life at risk, pay thousands of pounds to escape a country, France, where they're not being persecuted. They're not being, their lives aren't in danger. They just fancy coming to the UK. And I think that's because of the attraction of the United Kingdom to people who have came from, African countries, predominantly in Northeast Africa and some Middle Eastern countries. It's seen as an easy place to be. Get yourself to the Britain. They'll look after you. You'll be able to get some benefits. You'll be able to utilise the health service and other avenues available to make money. So they're not coming here because of the risk. And I find it quite amazing the amount of these, particularly the young men that travel alone, that claim that their life is unsafe wherever they live. And if that is true, I find it strange that they come themselves and not families. But if that was true and you were in country A and it was really, really scary and you really had to get out, got a bit of empathy for people in those instances. But what I can't understand is they cross one border from where they live into neighbouring countries. Now, if they feel safe there, why not stay? If they get to a neighbouring country and they think, well, this isn't much better than where I've just came from, I can fully understand why they would then put their life at risk and pay thousands and thousands of pounds to go somewhere else. But how many countries do they pass through when they leave their home where they're claiming they're unsafe to get here? It's not because they're unsafe. There must be dozens of places that they could stop off on the way here where they're not in danger. So there must be something compelling them to come to the UK. And this is to get on to my point. To stop that type of immigration is very, very simple. Don't have us as their ultimate destination because it's a nice place to go and there's loads and loads of benefits. Make the place that they've just came from, and listen, that's a bit, harsh and whatever, but make us slightly less better than the place that they've just came from, not their home, whatever the last country is before they get here. Because if they were in France, for example, or Belgium or Holland, and they've thought, no, I want to get on a boat, I want to pay somebody thousands of pounds to get to the UK. If once they got to the UK, they were actually better off France, Belgium or Holland, then they'll not come. The channel would empty. So, it's quite barbaric to think about, but if we don't have it such an easy place to live, they'll not come. And I think that's what the government are attempting to do with the Rwanda situation, where people that are doing that type of immigrant, not proper asylum seekers and people that need to come here because of skill shortages. If these people had no benefit in coming to the UK because somewhere else had better terms for them, they'll not be here. They would not pay thousands of pounds, put their life at risk, to jump in a dinghy to come to the United Kingdom if somewhere else just happened to be a more desirable destination for them. So that would severely help. And I genuinely think that's what the government are doing. Now, whether Rwanda is the ultimate answer, I don't know. There seems to be quite a bit of opposition against it from other people within Westminster. And I think they sometimes get mixed up and start using the other types of immigrants as excuses not to deal with the ones who really are just coming here because it's easier for them. So let's try that. The other type of immigration we have, probably the second largest number, is where we have skill shortages, or people who want to come, fill out a piece of paper and come into the country quite legally, where we have requirements for certain types of people, or entrepreneurs that, maybe an American, South African, somebody from the Far East wants to come to the UK because they want to set up a factory or a business that would obviously be a big advantage to the United Kingdom. So these types of people should be welcome. But if the numbers again are too high, for example, there's been suggestions made that people come in here for the care industry, or indeed the health industry, health service. We need these people. If that is the case, and they come either alone or with family, because there's been a bit of discussion about people coming over with dependents. If these people are needed, they come over and they contribute to society, then that's fine. That's great. And if that the spin of that is we get a better health service, or we get better care homes, or somebody entrepreneur, we get better jobs in the UK and investment in the UK. It's fantastic. However, if they come and they bring 4 or 5 dependents with them who do not help, the net effect in that could be a negative for the country. And I'm not suggesting people coming to work in a care home, for example, or a nurse, shouldn't be allowed to come to the UK with it, their family. That's understandable. Married kids, that's understandable. I totally get that. But they could potentially be a strain in the United Kingdom. So how do we combat that? Well, again, we've got loads and loads of people here who could fill these roles, and that wouldn't happen overnight. That would be impossible. You can't turn people who have no desire to work or have skill sets that don't fit the criteria for potentially health service and care industry overnight. That's just impossible. But here's a novel idea. There's schools full of teenagers. Schools all over the UK full of teenagers. And what we could teach these kids when they're at school, it's there. This isn't new or revolutionary. We teach these people things like how transgenders should be treated in society, which could potentially, if it is that really is a big problem, help a very, 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 very small portion of society. Why not teach kids at school the benefits of careers, the benefits of working? Talk to them and suggest to these young, impressionable people that to have dreams and desires isn't bad. The Americans used to be great at this. And look, their economy was very, very good. A lot of people in America with this American dream, that was a great thing, and build confidence in people. And heaven forbid we should actually get into schools and look at where we've got skill shortages. Now, if that means going in and setting up programmes for kids, maybe for teenagers, on the benefits of getting in to be a nurse or doctor, to work in the health system, in the care system, the care sector, then do it, and do it now. And in 10 years' time, you may not have the same amount of skill shortages where we need to go out with. And that would help a lot of things in the UK. It would help unemployment, desires. It could potentially, God knows, we could actually get some respect back for, we've got a generation of kids, I would suggest in their sort of 20s, that have got no desires whatsoever to work. There's a generation there that, I'm not saying all of them, there's some very, very good kids. I mean, I work with kids as a volunteer. I'm currently working with 200 kids as a volunteer, and there's some good kids there. But they get lost, and they go into the sort of Ned culture where it's, I'll get provided for. We seem to have been quite happy to break up the desire of a nuclear family, where, it'll probably be in the minority soon if it's not there already. And society's just accepted this. School should be not only about teaching people how to read and count, it should be teaching people respect, dignity. Being successful isn't a bad thing. And if we can go in and, people well more intelligent than me, find out what things we need as a country to operate, and go into schools and sell these ideas and put programmes together that will build. We might never get to fulfil every single skill shortage that we've got in the United Kingdom at present, but it would help. And as we need more homes, we need more people that are skilled in building. And that's another excuse that's often used. You can't stop immigration because we need to build homes, we need to build businesses and buildings. Yeah, well, let's teach the kids that we've got just now. Let's enforce standards into these kids and desires into them, and give them aspirations of not sitting in the house playing a PlayStation with a couple of joints and the trackie into the socks and the skip cap back to front and all that nonsense. Let's give them hope. Let's give them desires to be good people that have got something to offer society. And who knows? Is it because it's too long term that it might take 10 years before we see any improvement in that, and 20 years before there's any decent level of improvement in that? But is that our politicians just now have got to do knee-jerk things and instant things because all they're worried about is, will somebody vote them in at the next election? Is that what's going on here? I don't know. But there doesn't seem to be much forward planning. It seems to be the immigration problem is considered a very political hot potato, and folk, aren't they really that interested in 10, 20 years? They're interested in their career, which could be over in 6 months if there was a general election. Is that what's really going on? If that is the case, then our politicians need to have a good look at themselves and stop trying to react to a very quick reactive society just now, driven by social media, where if somebody says one thing, we hit them with cancel culture, and everybody wants instant answers. Stop, just slow down, and just look at the facts. If our immigration has to be high because of skill shortages, then let's look at that with a big long-term plan. If its biggest issue is illegal immigrants who are claiming to be asylum seekers and jumping on boats and put horrific things, and putting their life at risk, nobody at France is standing with a gun going to shoot them on the beach if they don't leave. Yet they still want to get on those boats because something here is like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Then make that something. If you're winning the Champions League for how we look after folk coming to the country illegally, let's drop down that league table a wee bit, and let's see how that affects people jumping in dinghies and paying £1,500 to cross the channel to get to this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I guarantee you, it would reduce. So, we rabbles went on for a bit longer than usual, but it's just things that have been in my mind for weeks and months as the immigration thing becomes more topical. Another thing that does actually annoy me though is this, again, it's a lot of things in society do this. If you say you're against, I'm not against immigration, I'm against the levels of it. But that and that alone, if you don't speak about any other political theology that you're into, society sees you as right wing. So if you're left wing, that's nice, nice, cuddly, easier to, socially acceptable. Then as soon as you're labelled right wing or your opinion is viewed as right wing, then you're bad in some way. Which I struggle getting my head around this. The amount of things that people are just, you're right, and far right, that's got to be the worst thing in the world. You can label it someone now. And that, views like that I'm telling you now, I don't think they're far right or far left. They're actually quite central in just, common sense and logic. But in society today, that's deemed as right wing or far right, and for some reason that means that you're just to be ignored, and that's a crazy situation. Probably driven a lot with social media as well, to be honest with you. And I think the country have to stop this. We need to put the big boy pants on and stop this battle of who wants to seem good and who wants to seem bad in this thing. And as soon as you start talking about immigration, you get, but care homes, people would die, grannies would die if we don't have immigration. Might be right. Nobody's saying don't have any. But let's just calm down a wee bit, eh? Let's just try and sort out the problem we've got. So, thanks for getting to the end of this rabble on, and give us a wee thumbs up, subscribe if you wish, and have a lovely day.